Hello again, and welcome to the Fans of the DC Universe Podcast Retrospective Part 4, where we will offer a brief sampling of the various interviews that have been done on the live Discord server-based weekly podcast show that is now celebrating its first full year of podcasting. So today we introduce you to 5 DC Universe community big shots, folks who have left their mark indelibly and very visibly on the DC Universe community one way or the other. Let's start with a short segment from September 2019, an interview with JLWWSM, or JL as we call her, and MattMcDonald, also known as Matt, who team run the original and only DC Universe book club that started up within a couple of weeks of DC Universe going live way back in late September, early October 2018. Fans of DC Universe podcasters Nathan Payson, New 52, and myself, Donnell, were some of the original book club members when it first launched. The second snippet of interview featured today is with Applejack, manager of the mods of DC Universe Community, and this took place right after the new social networking platform Community 2.0 was launched in late October of 2019. We followed this with an all too brief visit in November 2019 by HubCityQuestion Alex Jaffe, the ultimate DC Comics quiz person featured often on DC Daily Show, as well as a very vibrant contributing member of the DC Universe community with regular Tuesday trivia shows and lots of other stuff. Personally, I like it when he does his last chance to catch a video or animation before it's taken off of DC Universe. Those are fun watch-alongs. Alex also writes articles regularly for DC Universe News. Due to all kinds of technical difficulties the day of recording this, we finally had to resort to using Google Hangout to primitively record about 5 or 6 minutes of intense quizzing from Mr. Jaffe. I don't think we got any of the questions right, by the way. Finally, enjoy a visit with another DC Universe News article contributor, Joshua Lapin-Bertone. Joshua would join our Friday night Discord group chats after the 9 p.m. DCU watch-alongs back in late 2018 and offer up lots of insider details because of his connections as a comic book news person in all kinds of venues, not just DC Universe, but he writes for other comic book websites. In fact, because he does write for these different websites as well as DC Universe, he often gets paid to fly out to major comic book media events, like when Titans Season 2 is launched, or that sort of thing. Joshua Lapin-Bertone gets to go there and report on it, but he, as far as I know, he doesn't have to pay a dime to go. Good for him. Excellent stuff, and his articles are wonderful to read, of course, the same as HubCityQuestions. So sit up, pay close attention to every sapient syllable from these 5 DCU trendsetters as they make their appearance as guests on the Fans of DC Universe podcast, now 1 year old.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 11th episode of the Fans of the DC Universe podcast, the only DCU podcast for the fans, by the fans, and the best source for all DC Universe news and discussion on everything DC Universe. Today, we have a very special episode with the wonderful leaders of the DCU Book Club. Joining us today are MattMcDonald.
Hi, hello.
JLWWSM.
Hello.
Me, Nathan Payson, and the wonderful Donnell.
My goodness. Well, hello.
So we're going to talk about DC Universe Book Club. So starting out 52 weeks ago, MattMcDonald kicked off the DC Universe Book Club, which established what the DC Universe community is like today. Then in January, Matt at JL for the monthly Girl Power. Now, I have a lot of questions about everything I just said, but first I want to say congratulations on hitting 52 weeks. How does it
Thank you.
How does it feel to get this far?
A little unbelievable.
Yeah.
especially like with how crazy like my life has gotten. Like 3 months, like with the whole having a child thing, has when that was when sorry when my son was born, I became so busy. I honestly didn't think I'd be able to continue doing it. So it's crazy to think that I've gotten to where we've gotten with it, and it's crazy.
It's so cool. JL, how's it feel to be at 52 as well? Because I know that you weren't there for the whole process in terms of like helping lead, but I'm sure it must be really cool to like get that far.
Yeah, I can't. It's been 52 weeks, is what's crazy. I'm like, wow, 52 whole weeks. Yeah, it's great. I remember. I think I joined in on week 4, but I remember when Matt did have the idea of coming up with book club, and I wasn't able to join until I think the 4th week because I had to learn how to manage my time to have enough time to sit down, read the comic, and come in and talk. And then once I started doing it, I just didn't stop. It was so fun. So it's yeah, I can't believe it's been 52 weeks.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start this week because let's see, this week you guys are reading your favorite arcs, right? So this week you're doing one, and then next week is what, JL, is that your favorite arc? Or
Next week is Sam Humphries. So
ooh, you want to tell
we
us about that?
yeah. So we are covering Harley Quinn. The number 49 just hit the service last Tuesday. So we can read bar. So that's coming up, and yeah, I'm just really excited. So excited to have Sam come and join us for book club next week. That's going to be fun.
So Sam's going to be joining you guys. Ooh, that's fun. How'd you guys get that to happen?
So we keep Applejack in the loop about books that are coming up, and once we let her know what was happening, the rest of it goes behind the Applejack curtain.
The mysterious ways.
Yes, in mysterious
Ooh,
ways, it all worked out, and yeah, here we are.
that's so
Very
awesome.
Well, it's
Now,
nice because I know earlier on, right? Like, I don't know, maybe back in February or something, you also tried to make some synergies with DC Daily where there was, we
oh
would
yeah.
read the same time and have questions. So
Hmm.
it's kind of nice to see this coming up again.
Yeah, it's a very different partnership, but I like it.
And this
So,
is probably what it should have always been, but
mhm.
yeah, that's a story for a different time. But
It's so exciting to get to the chance to like ask the writer of the series like questions as and I think that'll be really fun. Is getting to share in the experience with the person who wrote the text. Because generally you read a book.
Go ahead.
Generally, you read a book uh, and the book is like, and you read it, and then you decide what it means and how you feel about it. But then you don't get to reciprocate that, and so I think it'll be really fun to get to talk with Sam Humphries. So for those who are curious, here's how the Q&A will work. I just pulled it up now. They have they posted it. So on Wednesday, September 18th, from 10 to 11 a.m. Pacific time. So that's a little early in the day, but you guys can. But anyway, Mr. Humphries will be here in the thread, reading your book club comments and responding to your book club questions. Post your questions or comments about Harley Quinn 2016 issues 45 to 49 to Mr. Humphries from Friday, September 13th through Friday, September 18th, and he'll answer them in the order they're posted in an office hours sort of way. And I'm definitely gonna have to ask some questions. I have a couple thoughts, and I'm really excited to check that out. So this week you guys are reading Green Arrow: The Kill Machine. So, and I know Donnell, this is like one of your favorite. I mean, not Donnell, Matt. This is one of your favorite stories of all time, right?
yes, yeah, I love it.
So, what do you love so much about the story?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, I love it because it's kind of it feels like a continuation of Green Arrow Year One. It feels very I guess to go back, it kind of feels like what I wanted the character to be all along. My favorite thing about Oliver Queen Green Arrow is not what most people think. A lot of people like the wisecracks and the stuff, but I like him because he's kind of a loose cannon. He's a very flawed individual. My favorite thing about the book is that he's reactive. Growing up, I was kind of the same way. I was always reactive, and I think Jeff Lemire found a very good voice for Oliver. He's reactive, he's angry, and he's emotional, and I think that's what makes him an interesting character. Those are the things I love about the character, and I know a lot of people feel differently, and that's fine. But I just love the way Jeff Lemire writes him.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 18th episode of the Fans of DC Universe podcast, the only DCU podcast for the fans, by the fans, and the best source for all DC Universe news and discussion on everything DCU. Today, we are interviewing someone who needs no introduction, the one and only Applejack.
Hello.
And if we have time, we'll talk about Titans Episode 8. So, joining us today, we have Applejack, New 52.
Hi.
And me, Nathan, not Payson. So let's just jump right into the questions because we only have so much time to talk, and I want to milk as much time as we can. So Applejack, the most pressing question, I thought about everything, and I was like, what question is the most important question to ask Applejack? I figured out. Why is your name Applejack? Is it My Little Pony? Is it cereal? Is it like a lumberjack for apples?
I like the last option, but despite popular opinion, theory, it is neither My Little Pony or the cereal. I wasn't even aware of the pony when I came up with it. I'm on, my finger is not on the pulse of children's television, but with the exception of, some of our favorites. But my favorite, I read a lot of superhero comics growing up because of my brother. I would sneak into his room and read his Spawn and his X-Men.
Yeah.
I really loved superhero comics, but eventually fell away from them. But I would still go to the comic book store and browse. And one day my eyes landed on the independent section, and I picked up a book called Stray Bullets. I was about 15. And the book Stray Bullets has a character named Virginia Applejack in it that got me fully back into comics, full steam ahead, way beyond the idea of, I like superhero comics here and there. And it really, after that, I also made my way into other David Lapham work, which helped to really tie together superhero comics and adult mature comics. And at first, actually, my online moniker was Amy Racecar, which is a character that Virginia Applejack draws in class. She's a space-traveling bank robber.
Wait, what?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she has hardcore scars on her face. Yeah.
Hardcore? Oh.
Hardcore. I think her mom cut her face when she was little.
Oh,
but
wow.
as I got older and I grew up a little, I said, it's time for my online identity to grow up. So I went from Amy Racecar to Virginia Applejack, kind of trying to inverse the meta of it. And when I came to DC Universe, Virginia Applejack wouldn't fit, so I just made it be Applejack.
I kind of like that, though. Applejack has many more meanings. It's much more in depth.
Sure, there's the mystery of, is it a pony?
And the best part is we always forget. And then 2 months later, you get asked why. And we all are like, we're pretty sure that you told us. But we don't remember.
Yeah.
That's okay. I feel like it's the same thing in real life when you meet someone and you forget their name. Like, I remember your face, but
I get it. So one of the things you do, right, is, or at least right now, right, we're in the midst of the Community 2.0 launch. I can't believe we're actually here now.
You're telling me, yeah.
I remember in February, or January, we had just gotten word of Community 2.0, and you were like, beta will be in April. And then I got...
What a naive fool I was.
I know. But hey, it's finally here, and I think everyone seems very excited. So, what have you been enjoying so much about Community Week so far?
I think exactly what you just said. I haven't had as much time to actually interact in the forums as I'm used to. But when I do jump in, usually when I jump in after a couple of hours or a day or two, I have to really search for reactions to what people are thinking about the bigger picture. But when I jump in now, I immediately see people saying something like, "Oh, I love that I can do this feature. I love that I can do this feature." I don't have to dig very deep to see that people are really enjoying it. And while I don't spend too much time indulging in that before I get back to work, it's been a relief. It's not even a joy or an ego stroke. It's just a relief to know that people are enjoying it. And that's the best feeling so far.
Yeah, that must be really good to know that everything you've been working so hard on is actually being received positively.
Yeah, and when people do have feedback, it's very, very constructive and easy to understand and easy to pass along. Yeah.
You've definitely fostered a community where people are able to voice their opinions without being negative, but still being able to say like what might be better.
You know, I will say that the tools being what they were the first year, forcing the moderator team to be really explicit about the expectations of behavior. Moving forward, we're going to have a lot more opportunity to moderate traditionally, whether it be closing topics or syncing topics, hiding comments. But it almost now feels like being a little bit more sneaky, where the past year we've had to be so clear with our expectations. I think it accidentally fostered that. I mean, I'd like to think I could take credit, but in a way, I don't think I really can. I think it was the way things were structured.
No, I agree with that in a sense, but I still think it was a lot of you and your team moderators. Yeah.
The moderators, especially, because I can't be on there all day, every day. And if I were, or if any of us were, it would burn us out very quickly. So we've learned to work together really well. But thank you so much for saying that. It's definitely a team effort. And not only that, the way it trickles down to attracting people like New 52, like Nathan.Payson, like Donnell or Aquaman, and that it attracts people that are like-minded and keep the peace even when the moderator's eyes aren't around. It all pays forward.
Well, I think what's so cool, and I think this is something that DC Universe has really fostered, is that like I know that like you don't spend any time on the Discord because it's like unprofessional for you, but the whole Discord community has grown a lot since launch, and like now we have the weekly podcast, which, hey, you're on. I can't believe you're on now.
Yes, and congratulations. I definitely enjoy it.
But this is all secretly because of you, and because you've fostered this community. But you get what I'm saying, in a sense, right? Like
I do. It's just hard to.
Yeah, I hate getting feedback, like positive feedback. So I'm like, just let me be better. Like, help me be better. You know?
Exactly. But I'd rather be cruelly criticized.
I mean, I can cruelly criticize you if you want.
Yeah. I'll take some of that if you got it. We can do that after the podcast. We'll do that. Okay. Yeah, we'll do that afterwards. That could be episode 2. We
can make this Criticize Applejack podcast.
Oh my gosh!
Just rename it.
It'll be just like home. Just kidding. Love my family. But no, for real, and even things like the book clubs that you all create and that JLWWSM and MattMcDonald create. I just can't. I'm at a loss for words. But I have a feeling at the end of Community 2.0, the Community Week, I'll probably. Right now I'm trying to stay tough and strong and get through the week. And then when it's over and I have time to reflect, I'm sure I'll be really sappy somewhere on the forums.
Oh, God. I know they celebrated in Action Comics number 1000, or Man of Steel number 1. They celebrate John's birthday. Oh, I don't know. Do you guys have any ideas?
I'm just trying to think of the story, and I know the story kind of circled around the Flash quite a bit, but it'd be funny if it was Wally's birthday, but I just can't remember.
No, I know Black Canary was doing the whole thing with Oliver Queen, right?
Yeah.
And then Aquaman was had the proposal. I know Ted Cord and Blue Beetle did something, right? But they weren't birthdays; they were just meeting, I think.
There was one birthday.
The Atom disappeared. There wasn't really a birthday celebration there.
All right, time's up.
Okay, go ahead.
Damian Wayne. Damian Wayne would celebrate his 13th birthday.
Ah, cool.
Yeah,
Really? Okay.
From 10 to 13.
Nathan, I can't believe you missed that.
Okay, Wonder Woman question. What gift does Wonder Woman bring Superman in For the Man Who Has Everything?
I haven't seen The Man Who Has Everything.
Yeah, or read it. It's,
yeah.
It's the same in both?
the gift is in the comic only.
Yeah, I haven't read the comic. I've only seen the
Okay.
episode.
In the comic, she gets him a replica of the bottle city of Kandor.
Oh.
Aww.
Where's For the Man Who Had... When was For the Man Who Had Everything?
It was Alan Moore wrote it in the 80s. It was Action Comics number 11. Jason Todd was in it. It's one of the few Jason Todd and Robin stories. Okay.
Oh, yeah, there's so few.
Rebirth question. In which country does the first battle of Justice League versus Suicide Squad take place?
Oh, it takes place on an island. Oh.
Greece? Would it be Greece if it's an island?
I remember it was an island.
Hope you're right.
I want to say it was... Oh, God. I remember this. Just gotta remember it.
New 52, you're on a blank?
I haven't read that event.
She's only read the New 52 stuff. She hasn't gotten to Rebirth yet.
Jail versus Suicide Squad is like probably my favorite Joshua Williamson book.
Is it actually?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Dang.
I sort of skipped it, so it's actually one I haven't read in my many volumes of readings.
Okay.
All right, it takes place in Dadnesia.
What the?
Dadnesia, you may remember, is the home of Thunderbolt, Johnny Thunder's genie from Flash Comics #1 in 1940.
No, sorry.
So that's an island with some history.
Is that even on Earth? Is that even on Earth?
Yeah, it's on Earth. It's on Earth.
All right, sure, pal.
All right, we got a Wonder Woman question. Which Academy Award-nominated actress got an early start playing Wonder Girl in the 70s Wonder Woman series? Who played Wonder Girl?
What was her name? It wasn't even Donna.
I didn't know there was a Wonder Girl, and I used to watch it.
You used to watch it, Don?
Oh, yeah, of course, in the 70s. You better believe it. Yeah, Linda Carter.
Was it
Great.
Was it like Lydia Carter or something?
No, Linda Carter was Wonder Woman.
Yeah, no, I know that. I'm just trying to
I'll
think.
tell you that Wonder Girl's name was Drusilla, but I'm looking for the actress's name.
Yes, Drusilla. I've only seen 5 episodes, but I remember that actress. Oh my gosh.
I'll tell you that she was in Terms of Endearment and An Officer and a Gentleman.
I remember her from Officer and a Gentleman. That's why I'm like...
Oh, this is really bad now. This is real bad, and I can't think of her name. Hit us, man. Hit us. Who is it?
Deborah Winger. Deborah Winger, Academy Award nominated actress, Deborah Winger.
There you go. Fascinating.
All right, I'm getting tired, so I'm going to ask one more question. I'm going to save the rest for our next time.
All right.
Okay.
All right. What was the first DC comic to have Rebirth in the title?
You mean like in the official title?
Yes. What was the first comic to have the word
Green Lantern Rebirth, right?
Green Lantern Rebirth, which came out in 2005, is incorrect.
No, I'm only saying that because DC I finally got my big package from DC for DC Year 1. And in it, there's a giant absolute Green Lantern Year 1 copy.
Yeah. That would be where the whole Rebirth trend kicked off.
Yeah.
The first Rebirth comic came out in 2001, and it was written by Dwayne McDuffie. It was Static Shock, Rebirth of the Cool.
Ah, very cool, very cool.
These are evil.
Yeah, well, you know how I do. All right.
You learned. I'll never forget it. Actually, I probably will at some point.
I'll send you the recording of this in a little bit here, Nathan.
Oh, did you record it?
Cool.
I'm trying to record it. We'll see what it came out as.
All right. Well, I have a whole lightning round for the Legion of Superheroes, but I'm going to save it for next time, and I'll see you then.
All right, thanks so much.
Thank you, Alex, so much.
All right.
Bye.
Have a wonderful day.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Bye.
Good night.
Bye. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 22nd episode of the Fans of DC Universe podcast, the only DCU podcast for the fans, by the fans, and the best source for all DC Universe news and discussion on everything DCU. Joining us this week are me, Nathan Payson, and the one and only Joshua Lappenberg-Tony. He is a writer. So what's been the best part about working at DC Universe, other than not having to work everywhere?
Bragging rights.
Yeah.
And again, I'm a freelancer. I'm not a comics employee. Yeah. I'm not a, I want to preface that. But I love the bragging rights. One of my other jobs is I work with kids and stuff like that. And, one of the kids is like a big DC fanboy. So I love being able to like tell him, hey, yeah, no, my stuff is on now. And that's cool. And, just earlier in this podcast, it was like that press release. It was like, I think I wrote that. And then like seeing that, like, oh, so like seeing stuff that I wrote, like go out in official press release by D. That's just crazy. So
cool. I know, you were said that, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, and that was how I found that out. And then just, seeing my stuff getting like retweeted by like people who I respect and stuff like that too. I wrote an article about Patrol for DCComics.com, which is the sister site for DC Universe. And like the writers of the show retweeted it, the show's official account retweeted it and liked it. And as someone who was working on sites for years, like you had to make a lot of noise to get noticed by like the big people. And here I am, like my stuff is getting like retweeted by those people. So that's cool in of itself.
Yeah, it's validating.
Yes.
And like as a freelancer, like I think one thing I was thinking about is like I know YouTubers talk all the time about how like they don't feel like they don't get to ever see the people who read their stuff, or I mean in this YouTuber's case watch the stuff, and so it's like nice to get like lots of feedback on what you're doing.
And I don't always get lots of feedback. So I was in I live in Florida and their offices are in Burbank, so I don't go to the offices very often. But like I was at the offices last week, and the associate editor, who's different than the person that hired me, but he also goes through my stuff. He said, oh, by the way, that Dick Grayson Black Book article you did got like a lot of hits and a lot of feedback. And I was like, really? Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. It was one of our biggest that week. And I was surprised and happily surprised because, I put a lot of work into. So I don't always know what's hitting and what's not, but I hear things from people and it's happy.
So, does DC Universe tell you, like, how much hits your articles generally get, or do they generally just tell you when you're, like, over there?
They don't tell me, but I haven't asked either.
Okay.
And they don't always have the numbers in front of them either. Like, so, like, my editors, I don't see them in person a lot, but, like, when I did, I was like, I think I said, hey, what about the Easter eggs? How do those do? And they said, oh, yeah, those do well. So, but, like, he didn't have, like, a graph that he show me in front of me because we were that wasn't why I was there. This was actually at the DC Lounge that they did at New York Comic Con, which was really cool. That was an awesome hangout spot.
It's so fun. So I was like thinking like, what are some of the benefits? And I was like, didn't you like just go to like this giant press event?
It's funny too about I have a little more clout than I usually did because like when I was working for fan sites, if I wanted to go to a press room or like a press junket or something like that, you'd have to email publicists, and the publicist will say that there's room for you or there's not. With DC Universe, there's a little more pedigree, but the thing is too, if my editors are already going, I can't exactly say, hey, I'm for DC Universe, so I still have to kind of go through sites for some of those. freelancing. But my editors have been very, very helpful when it comes to like benefits. If I've wanted to participate in something or go or do something, they've done a lot of things to help make that happen. And I was in LA last week for kind of, a friend's trip, a birthday trip.
Yeah.
And I had never been to DC Daily sets before. So I said to my editor, hey, I want to reach out to this DC Daily producer that spoke to me in the past, blah, 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 and see if I can get arranged. And he said, well, I'll just take it. Like, and he walked me in, let me like go and take pictures, so like that was pretty cool. We went to, I always love going around the Warner Brothers lot when he helped me, get onto that and walk around. One of my friends who loves Gilmore Girls, we got to go onto the Stars Hollow set.
Wow.
Which nobody was allowed on that day because they were setting up to the episode of Lucifer. But, we were able to go pretty close and go to the Gazebo because of, people who were very, very helpful. And we didn't break any rules. Like, I'm realizing as I'm saying this, like, I don't want to make it sound like they did something wrong. They didn't do anything wrong. But,
it's so
benefits.
Fun. And then you also went to the Nightwing event, right?
Yes, I actually had to do that outside of DC Universe, like, because again, you can't go over your editor's head and say, hey, I'm going to DC Universe. And my editors for DC Universe and DC Comics were both there. But, so I had to, like, actually go to that under one of their websites. But that was an awesome event. And I loved costumes up close and talking to costume designers. That was